Okay. Right. Okay, so I have just put some lemon yellow in splotches without wetting the paper first. So I'm going to then use a little bit of my light green, and I'm just going to drop the colour in. I leave white spaces into that first colour yellow. Just drop some in. So you've still got some yellow and you've got a little bit darker green. And some down where the sheep are. So we've got splotches of green. I'm just softening those edges there. I leave some hard, but I'm softening some. I want to leave white space. Before it dries, I'm going to then have a little bit darker green. I'm cheating at this time. I'm actually using tube greens. I'm just going to put in a little bit of dark, just a blob. Just let it diffuse in. And again, where the sheep are. So then I'm going to take the rigger, and I'm going to use some brown. This is, I can't remember what this is. This is Daniel Smith's Piemonte, which is a sort of a reddy brown. I'm going to have it fairly thick on my brush, so that it doesn't diffuse too much. And starting from the trunk, hold your brush at the end like that, because you don't want to be crouched over it. Hold it at the end. Just draw a line lightly up. Now it's going to diffuse a little bit. So I've drawn a line from the trunk up through the green, and then sort of done the twig things at the end. So I'm going to do another one. Where it goes through the green paint, you're going to get it diffusing a bit, but that's fine. And where it's on dry paper, it won't diffuse, it'll be crisp. So just pulling it out, pulling the branches out. The wind's blowing, and it's blowing in that direction across there, and that poor old tree is taking a bit of battering. Right, so this up here now is all dry. So I'm going to put in a few more of the branches. So from this side of the tree, this side of the trunk, I'm going to pull out a branch and out to the left, and then pull it round over the top. So it's in a nice fluid shape. And then from that one, I'm going to do one coming out and crossing over. And one sort of that doesn't go right out. And I run out of paint on that one. And then do the little branches at the end. A bit goes up there. Don't be too heavy-handed. Don't do too many, because we've now told the viewer this is a tree and it's blowing in the wind. We don't have to put every branch and twig and everything on. Just give them the idea. I'm going to do one more just there. If you can cross them over, it makes it a nice pattern which is pleasing to the eye. And I don't think that I'm going to do much more for the branches on that. Now, right, okay, so I'm going to do the trunk, and I'm going to mix a little bit of a darker colour with my brown, just to give me a bit of a darker shade. So my dark bit is on the left, because I always have the light coming from the right. Now I'm just wiggling. I put some on my rigger and I'm just wiggling that side just to make it looking knobbly. And then on the other side, I'm just going to use, in fact, I'm just going to put a clean brush and some water and just pull it through. Make that a nice V shape. And just make that a little bit dark underneath the tree, just to give it an idea of little less light hitting the ground. This bit here on mine bothers me because branches don't just come out as I did it. So I'm just going to thicken that up there and thicken that branch. But use your own discretion on yours. I mean, yours might be fine. And I'm just going to fill that in a bit there so it looks like it breaks up there. I think that's it. That branch there can be a little bit darker, but I'm not adding any new ones in. I'm going to keep well away. And I'm just going to thicken that up there. So that's it for the tree. Now do the fence. So I'm going to use the same colour as for the tree. And I'm just going to put my fence posts in. They can be straight or they can be higgledy-piggledy. They can be longer than each other. And just do the bits of wood across. It's not a very well kept fence. One more. Join him up. It's been mended a few times. So that's the fence. Next, I'm going to use some neutral tint to do the legs of the sheep, as long as the paper is dry where I've put the grass. Using the rigger, sheep have got sort of a knee, and then their leg goes smaller underneath their knee. Try not to do their legs too long, otherwise they don't look quite right. This one has got 3. I won't.
Susan.
So I'm going to work my way up along the sheep. This one, he's got 3 as well. So I just put his leg in. This one has got 2. This one has 2. And this one. That's all the sheep have now got legs, which is good. Now we've done the legs, I think we'll do the heads. So using the same colour, we're not using detail at all, just colour in or paint in the lines your sheep's head. I'm holding the brush fairly close to the bristles because this is quite detailed work, as opposed to when we were being loose and sloppy with the tree. This is that one. Looking slightly down his nose at the smaller one, obviously. And then my last one, who's looking up at the big one. He's got a thin face. You can make their ears a bit floppy. Gives them expression. And I've just gone over some of the dried ones and put a darker side, because again, that's where the light is coming from. So on the left, they'll appear just slightly darker. And then I just clean brush, just damp, just need to blend that in, so it just doesn't look like a line. So you just got to wait a few minutes whilst that all dries. whilst that is dry, I'm just going to put a little bit of dark of my neutral tint on the side of the tree where it is its shade. And again, clean brush, not too much water, and just blend it in. So, in fact, I'm going to use a little bit bigger brush. So I want it to be blended in. It doesn't look like a line. So I've got a little bit of shadow on the left, and I'm going to do exactly the same for the fence. So I'm going to go down the left side of each fence post and get a clean, damp brush and just blend it in. Just to give it a little bit of texture, a little bit of shadow. Just blend it in, light touch with the damp brush. And underneath the fence, make it a little bit darker. Because that's less light hitting that. Okay. Just underneath the sheep, a little bit of that neutral tint, or a little bit of your indigo or dark brown, just so that it's darker where the sheep are, because they would stop the light coming through as well. Okay, so now I'm going to mix up a very, very light grey. And to do this, I'm going to use a bit of alizarin crimson, not much. I'll bring it over here so that you can see. So I'm mixing it here, a bit of alizarin crimson and a bit of blue. Any blue will do. And you mix it until the red tinge has gone. I know that's a very technical way of putting it. We're still at the purple stage. I'm only putting a tiny bit in each time. Here we are, we're grey. So, and you want your brush not too wet, but not too dry. And I'm just going to, in fact, I'm going to use the rigger. So, underneath this one's head and to his left, I'm going to put the grey. Then with a clean damp brush, pull the grey, no more paint, just water, the grey round to the rest of his body. And I'm just going to get a little tiny bit more of the grey or a dark colour, just to give him a bit of shadow on this side. So I wet, in fact, it might be better if we wet the whole of the sheep, then put a little bit of grey in and then pulled it across just using the water, and then a little bit of more of the grey down the shadow side. So, because he'll be in shadow this side. So we'll do that for the next one. So I'm going to clean brush, water on the brush, round the sheep's body. A little bit of the grey. Just fill him in. I can We can rub out the pencil marks afterwards. I'm going to have a little bit of my neutral tint just to go where by his head and in front of the legs, just to give him a bit of, because the sun is on his back there, so that bit there underneath his head is in shadow. Right, next one. So it's clean water all around the body. This one's going to be in shadow here. So I'm going to put the grey in, pull it round. No further paint needed on that bit. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of my dark neutral, but you can use Payne's grey, and just put a little bit, whoa, little. I'll suck this up now. Right, I'm going to, when you've done that, put too much paint on, take a clean, what they call a thirsty brush, so it's only just damp, and just place it on what you want to suck up. That's it. It will dry lighter, so they won't be totally grey. They will dry lighter. This one here, clean brush, just water. Round in. A little bit of the grey. Now, he's got, this one is in front of this one, so he will have a shadow because he is behind that one. So I pulled that out there, and I'm just putting in a little bit of shadow round that side of him, because he's going to be not in the sun, because this one is in the way. I'll leave that for a few minutes, let it dry a bit. And the last one, his tummy is going to be in shadow. So a bit of the grey into the water, pull it round. A little bit of dark colour, only a tiniest bit, and just drop it into where you think he'll be in shadow. I've got too much in there, so thirsty brush again, and I'm just dabbing it up. This is fiddle painting. So now, just to finish off, just do a few long grasses. I'm just blending away some of the shadow so that it just doesn't stop. It blends into what we've already got on the sheep. Grass, so a green, so a nice, not too bright, nice green onto the rigger, and just flick some grasses in. So I'm flicking them by the tree, by the fence, and a few bits underneath the sheep, just a few blades, not just to say, look, it's grass we're standing on. Don't go higher than your fence, otherwise it'll look like monster grass. Then with a damp brush, probably a little bit bigger, but a clean damp brush, just get the bottom of the grasses and blend the bottoms out a bit. So it's not, they look as if they belong. I'm just going to make my fences a little bit more pronounced, but if yours look as if they need doing, then do, but mine sort of merged, got a bit light. And the last thing I want to do is just do a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to take a darkish green, only light, sort of what they call tea. I'm just going to, sun's over to the left. No, it's not, it's to the right. Sun's to the right. So therefore the tree will be casting a shadow over to the left. So I've used just a dark green and just brushed on a little bit of dark colour. Obviously made a mistake and went the wrong way. So it's just what they call a glaze more than anything, just to make it a little bit darker than the grass, a little bit darker than the rest of it. Now, going to this sheet to dry, so I'm going to attempt to get the pencil marks off. Make sure it's really dry. And this one is, I don't think I'm going to be too successful because I put a little bit of wax over the pencil, which stopped that one. Let's do him. You're dry. That's as far as it. And if there's any, I've got some, oh, mustn't touch that because I just done that. So the tree, I drew in some branches which I didn't, or the shapes I didn't use. So I'm going to rub out those pencil marks. And the pencil marks have gone. And then if you didn't redo your fence, you can always rub out around your fence. But I'm going to have to leave mine because I did. So that is that. All remains is to sign it. I'm going to sign it over this side. And it's done apart from the pencil marks around the fence.